Hey, good morning. Welcome to Catholic Breakfast. Father John Muir. Today I want to talk about 5 benefits for belief in the Creator from St. Thomas Aquinas. Now, we just celebrated his feast dates, January 28th, and there's nobody like Thomas Aquinas in terms of breadth and depth of knowledge in the whole Catholic tradition. And here he's going to give not so much reasons for belief in the Creator as much as benefits. So he does do the former, but here I'm going to talk about the 5 benefits of belief in the Creator. Before we do that, a distinction in Thomas Aquinas between creating and making. Human beings don't really create things. We, Thomas sees, rearrange things. We change the form of what things are. We take a lump of clay, we turn it into a statue. For Thomas, creating is what only the divine power can do, which is to bring something that doesn't exist into something that does exist. It's to give it not just what it is, but to give it that it is. Do you follow what I'm saying? So it's to create ex nihilo, to create out of nothing. That's what the Creator for Thomas is. When a person believes in that, acknowledges that, there's 5 benefits that are consequent, and here they are. Number 1 is, it leads us to an acknowledgement of divine majesty. Here's why Thomas says that. Because the Creator is, by definition, outside of all created categories, he's uncategorical, and therefore can't be known in and of himself by human intellect, the only way to really know God from creation is through the things that he's made. So we look at the different power and effects of created things, and we can reason by a kind of analogical leap to the divine majesty. It's wonderful, right? Think of a sunset, watch like the Discovery Channel, look up at the stars. All of these created things are meant to point to the infinite majesty of the Creator. The second benefit of belief in the Creator for Thomas Aquinas is it leads us to give thanks. So there's an intuition in the human heart when we recognize the beauty of creation that these things are given to us, and because they don't have to be. None of them explain their own existence. They're contingent, to use Thomas's language. And what sort of spontaneously happens to us as rational beings is we want to say, thank you, thank you. For Thomas, this is a natural virtue. It doesn't take some kind of a lightning bolt from heaven to make us say thank you to God. It's kind of a natural response of a rational creature like a human being. I think here of the great Dorothy Day, the 20th century atheist turned believer, who, when she held her newborn daughter in her arms, said she felt a gratitude that was so great that she knew nothing in creation was capable of receiving that gratitude. And it was a key moment for her to believe in the Creator God. So that's the second benefit of belief in the Creator, leads us to gratitude. Now, the third benefit of belief in the Creator for Thomas Aquinas is it leads us to patience in difficulty. Now, Thomas is well aware of what we call the problem of evil, so it can get a little tricky here. But what he noticed is, of all the beauty of creation and all the thanks we give for the good things in creation, nonetheless, bad things happen. And the good things in creation bump into us, right? From a car crash to a lightning bolt, to all sorts of things. But Thomas was very crafty in how he understands this. So because God is the source of all existence, to whom we give thanks, he's also governing all of creation for his ineffably good ends. So for example, if something hurts me because it's my fault, Thomas says, well, if you're guilty for doing it or it's your own sin, then recognizing that divine providence is at work helps me be set free from that guilt. Think, for example, if someone drinks too much and they've got a hangover the next day. Well, is God punishing me? Well, no, not directly, but there's like a natural evil. So recognizing that God is at work even in that causal chain helps me be patient. What if it's just something that happens to me, some unfortunate accident, etc.? Well, how does divine providence work in that regard? Well, for Thomas, he says, the spiritual master that he is, because I believe in the Creator who's outside of all created categories, I can allow that experience to more deeply shift my love to God. I lose everything I have in the downturn of the stock market. Can I see the working of divine providence in that, helping me love not creatures, but the Creator, not the gifts, but the giver of the gifts? Not easy. Again, the problem of evil is always tricky and difficult, but that's Thomas's way forward. belief in the Creator gives us deeper patience in God. The fourth one, benefit of belief in the Creator for Thomas, is it persuades us to use creatures well. We don't just admire God from a distance, have patience when things go wrong. Thomas also saw that belief in the Creator gives us a kind of mission to use creatures well. We identify and recognize what their creaturely status is. How do I use that? Is it a chicken, a person? How do I cooperate with the Creator's plan for creation? So it helps me use things well for God's glory and for the good of people around me. And now the last benefit of belief in the Creator for Thomas is it leads us to understand our dignity. In other words, it helps us to understand how much we are worth. Thomas saw this as kind of the culmination of belief in the Creator. It doesn't push us down, rather it lifts us up. For Thomas, belief in the Creator helps us understand that, to use the language of the book of Genesis, we're made in the image and likeness of God. We're God's viceroys or ambassadors. We cooperate with Him. And that means that we have a dignity greater than anything that we can see. Thomas would say, look, we're like right up there with the angels in terms of our dignity. Flip it around, without belief in the Creator, how can you really lift up any real dignity? At the end of the day, we're just like these hairy, rational animals walking around a rock in the middle of the endless expanse of space. But Thomas saw that rational belief in the Creator leads to an awareness of our dignity, that we're made in God's image and likeness and are made to live for Him and for His glory. So there it is, the 5 benefits of belief in the Creator God. It leads us to deeper acknowledgement of the divine majesty, to gratitude to God, patience in difficulty, a knowledge of how to use things around us, and finally, an awareness of our deep dignity. In honor of St. Thomas Aquinas, those are the 5 benefits for belief in the Creator.